With me tonight is Will Leach, founding editor of GawkersDeadspin.com. He's here to talk about how ESPN and beer commercials have ruined sports and how the fans can save it. Deadspin's Will Leach is on a crusade. The 32-year-old novelist, columnist, and blogger recently released his third book, God Save the Fan, in which he aims to take back professional sports from big money and even bigger egos. The idea initially spawned with Deadspin.com, renowned for being one of the snarkiest and most popular sports blogs on the net. But the founding editor didn't stop there. His latest book is part impassioned rant and part manifesto, detailing everything that's wrong with sports today. Does ESPN really think you're stupid? Will the Olympics really sap your soul? And what exactly should fans be doing to help Leach save sports anyway? From the three-point line, it's The Loop. Hey, that guitar went through that tube. My guest tonight, as promised, from New York, it's author, journalist, sports blogger, and fan, Will Leach. Welcome to The Loop, Will. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. How's it going?
I'm sorry I'm not Kevin. I hope it's not like going to watch a Letterman taping and being like, oh, it's just some animal trainer and not Brad Pitt. So I hope you don't mind getting me instead.
The donkey's a nice touch.
The donkey was, what donkey? I'm not referencing it. So,
I know, but he was there. He's in our hearts.
He's been a great comic foil the whole time. All right, well, let's get to your book. So your new book actually may have the longest title that I've ever seen. It's God Save the Fan, How Preening Sportscasters, Athletes Who Speak in the Third Person, and the Occasional Convicted Quarterback Have Taken the Fun Out of Sports, parentheses, and How We Can Get It Back. So the title does a good job.
That's the whole book.
That's the entire book right there.
That's
the entire
That's
book.
all we need.
So, but it actually encapsulates what's wrong with sports today. And I was flipping through it, and I found it to be, and I'm not a huge sports guy, I got to be honest, and I found it to be completely engaging even as a non-sports fan. So why?
Yeah, it's. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to let you go. I suck at this already.
Oh, okay. Hi. Yeah, definitely. It's meant to be for people that aren't that. It's not. It's for the hardcore fan, but it's also, I think, it's for anyone that kind of feels like they don't have a lot of voice in among the things that they love. And sports fans in a lot of ways are kind of kept in the dark about a lot of the decisions that are made for them. And I think they have a little bit more power than they used to have. And the book hopefully reflects that a little bit.
Now, why do you think ESPN and beer companies are anti-fan?
Well, I think it's so much that they don't need to do anything to make the fans happy because they kind of have them. There's this general kind of idea that, sports fans aren't going anywhere. If you like sports, you'll just always be a sports fan no matter what they do to you. And whether they raise ticket prices or have everyone using steroids or whatever the problems in sports, the general idea is if you're a fan, you don't have any choice about it. And I think that's actually changing a little bit. And that's one of the things I've discovered from doing Deadspin and the type of thing I try to get in the book a little bit.
I loved, actually, I was flipping through the book and I noticed you have a great allusion to Melissa Rivers being ripped apart by wolves, which is great for any book, sports or non. Do you think that's the only way?
That was the original title.
Do you think that's the only way wolves can actually get oxycodone into their system is to rip Melissa Rivers apart? Is that what you're...
Well, whatever vessel will get there.
So besides the book, you're also the founding editor of arguably the internet's most popular sports blog, and congratulations, by the way, Deadspin.com. So, what are you and other indie blogs doing to help save sports?
Well, I think it's just giving voice to fans that maybe they didn't used to have. I think as recently as 3-4 years ago, people just never listened to fans. There was no real place for like your leagues or your networks or even like your teams to really have a place where they were held accountable to fans a little bit. And that's changed dramatically in the last 2 or 3 years. I don't think it's because of Deadspin. I think it's generally because of blogs in general. But fans do have a lot more power and have a lot more voice. When leagues do something to actively just screw with fans, fans can make their voice heard. It's not just all happening in that kind of echo chamber anymore. Fans can speak up and scream a little bit.
And
that's a pretty cool thing.
And you do. And I know the voice on the blog is hilarious and sarcastic and snarky. And because of that, it appeals to readers. But do you think that also encourages mainstream media to kind of ignore it as a serious, piece of journalism because of that?
Well, I write for other places. I write for the New York Times, and I write for New York Magazine and so on. And I think that there is a little bit a skewed viewpoint a little bit, I guess. But frankly, I think that a lot of times people in sports media have not been covered the way that they cover athletes, and so I kind of try to do that a little bit. I mean, if you look at ESPN, they're certainly larger than most sports leagues, and certainly more people know ESPN personalities than most athletes. So I think I've tried to cover them pretty much the same way that they cover athletes athletes, and I cover athletes, and hopefully, sustained over time, people will at least take it somewhat seriously, enough to laugh anyway.
I think so, but I think people realize that they're always under that critical eye, and you guys sort of keep them in check, because I think they don't realize for the longest time no one did that. So I mean, I think you perform a great service to people.
Yeah, I think you don't get the good part of fame without the bad part of fame. Sports is no different.
And speaking of famous people, famous athletes, Brett Favre. Big Brett Favre news happened recently. Do you have anything to say about that? Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's funny. He's very, very, very an old man now, and it's probably time.
He must be 80 by now, right? What is he, 70?
Yeah, I don't want to. He's actually Andy Rooney's brother. A lot of people don't realize that. So he's a very old man. So it was probably time. It's kind of weird though, because I feel like the state of Wisconsin has such an intense man crush on Brett Favre. I worry about our dairy industry.
Yeah. Listen, we only have a couple seconds, so I just want to get from you the future for Will Leitch.
Oh, I'm just going to keep. Typing and ducking.
Kicking ass is taking names, more of the same. All right, excellent.
I'm sorry?
I said kicking ass is taking names, more of the same. Ooh. I'm actually going to read your book, and again, I'm not a sports fan, but I was so floored by some of the stuff that was in it. So I encourage you, if you're not a sports fan, by all means, pick it up. I'm not talking to you, Will. I'm talking to everyone else. So many thanks to Will Leitch for stopping by and keeping us in the loop. Thanks a lot, Will.